Man Hour Nation, it's time to get shocked. Man Hour, welcome to this Friday edition of Fantasy Football Friday. But normally we start off with some crazy news or some stuff that upsets me, yada, yada, yada. And today we're going to start with the latter. This really upsets me. This is a fantasy-driven show tonight, so if you guys got any fantasy questions, drop them off in the chat here. But I'm looking through my family fantasy league, right? There is 12 people in our family fantasy league, and I am the highest point scorer overall in our league. I have over 1,500 points total scored this season. I am 2-6 right now. I am 2-6, getting 1,500 points so far this season. The person that's in first place, 1,200 points. How in the world does that make any sense whatsoever? I am destroying people when I win, twice so far this year. But it seems like every time I play somebody, their person goes off. Joe Mixon just a couple weeks ago. Jalen Hurts like the week before that. Tua the week before that. It's so irritating. But this is why I love fantasy football so much. But man, it pisses me off at the end of the day. So, damn it, Tori. It's time to cue that intro. Are you ready for the best damn radio show on the planet? Man Hour Nation, rise up.
You don't want to be every time, no. I would like to personally welcome you to Man Hour After Dark. Say that thing. While I bring you the host, Mike, Buck, and Cone. You know who coming to the stage. Sports talk than what you about to hear right here. I second that.
Go. You know that it's us when we talking about sports. Giving you facts on the field to the core. Tune in, we need the support. 1 hour too short, then listen some more. On all your stations, not dropping no music. Stripes like Adidas, but Nike just do it. Down 4 in the 4th, we go for the win. Michael 2 seconds, we taking it in. Buck, Mike, and Combs, you know what's going on. Man, now we're After Dark, no LA, we the big spark. No 4th and inches won't cut short. Got the best talking, it's all sports. Buzzing more than buzzer beaters. We coming live all through your speakers, go.
And what is up, Man Hour Nation? Michael Buckhouse here with the Man Hour Show. To head over to manhourradio.com. Check out the merchandise page. Of course, check out the blog section as well. We got the new Detroit merch out there, maybe next year since 1957. So if you have any Detroit Lion fans out there, click on that link that is posted in the description below. Get them that merch. $25 for a 4-Eka hoodie. You cannot go wrong with that. But guys, this is Fantasy Football Friday right here on Man Hour at youtube.com/Man Hour. And of course, at facebook.com/Man Hour as well. We're going to give you guys some great content tonight. We're going to give you 3 must starts, 3 must bench, and 3 sleepers going into week 11 of this NFL football season. We also got a couple questions that were posted in our Facebook group earlier this week, and we'll get those answered for you. But first, before we get too carried away, we have to welcome the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Tori Anderson at manhour_Tori, and of course Tori Anderson on the old Facebook page, group expert in that Facebook discussion group. Tori, man, how does it feel to have that group expert tag next to your name?
I mean, I wake up in the morning and I just piss excellence. So, I mean, if you're not first, you're last.
Well, damn it, Tori. There's second, there's third, there's fourth. Hell, there's even fifth where I'm at in our league.
Settle down, Ricky Bobby's daddy. If you can't drive with the Bobcat in the car, we wear the Crystal Gale t-shirt, you don't belong behind the wheel.
I was high, Bobby. Shit. But guys, welcome to Fantasy Football Friday. This is our first Friday edition of the season. Well, our first live edition of the Friday season here. Me and Tori will be here. Fridays moving forward since the playoff season is getting close to Tori. Fantasy football playoffs are couple weeks away. We're in week 11, so probably about week 14, 15 is when the fantasy season playoffs normally start. Do you have any advice for the people that are getting ready to make that playoff push?
look for players getting ready to come off of injuries, players that can be an impact for their team and that can be an impact for your team to help you maybe with your playoff push, help you with your positioning, or to push you over the edge in the playoffs. This time of year, that is key, being one step ahead of the rest of the people in your league.
Yeah, and that is exactly what we're going to do tonight, Tori. And we are going to start with 3 players that you think are 100% must-starts going into this Week 11 matchup right here in the NFL season. So, Tori, give me your first must-start player of the weekend.
So, I never thought I would utter these words. Not this year. Maybe next year, but definitely not this year. You have Justin Fields. Justin Fields the last 2-3 weeks has been one of the top quarterbacks fantasy-wise that you could even ask for. And doing it with his legs, doing it with his arm, hands down, right now, Justin Fields, especially against a very suspect Atlanta defense, that game is my shootout pick of the weekend for if you have fantasy players on those teams, you might want to start them this weekend because those are my picks for that game to be like a 38-34 type game. Because neither one of those defenses is very good. But yeah, Justin Fields, he went for $134, $175, ran for a couple of touchdowns, thrown for a couple of touchdowns. That is fantasy football heaven right there if you need a quarterback for the weekend.
Yeah, and like watching that Chicago game last week versus the Detroit Lions, Justin Fields is really that only offensive weapon that they have there, so they're going to continue to feed him over and over and over again. So give me the second player that is a must-start this weekend.
I'm going to go over to Detroit, actually, and not for the Buffalo and Cleveland game. I'm actually going to stick with with Detroit going on the road to actually play at the Giants. I'm going to go with Amon-Ra St. Brown. Again, if you haven't been paying attention to Amon-Ra St. Brown, when he's been healthy this year, been one of the top receivers in the league. He has been nicked up, been banged up, missed a couple of games, has screwed me in DraftKings a couple of times when he got banged up in those games. So I would tell you, you start him. Again, you have a Giants team that's kind of been overachieving all year, I think. Still, I'm on pace to have been just a year behind with them. So I would say though, start Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's Goff's number one target there, especially with Hawkinson gone. Who else are they going to throw it to?
Right. And he is a player coming off of injury as well. So hopefully he is good for the fantasy push moving forward, because I've actually got him starting in most of my leagues this week after sitting him for the last couple. But give me that third and final player that you have circled as a must start this week.
I'm going to go with JJ. You have to go with Justin Jefferson. Again, another game potentially that could turn into a shootout. Minnesota's defense, for their record, Minnesota's defense is not that great. However, again, that is a defense that can be torn up there in Dallas. I mean, heck, my Packers, who are terrible, put up 31 on them and beat them. So, it's a defense that definitely can be taken apart. Justin Jefferson this year is lights out, hands down the best receiver in the league without any competition this year. It is JJ. I mean, I'm just kind of being redundant at that point. If you're taking Justin Jefferson out of the lineup, he better be on his bye week. You don't ever put JJ on the bench.
Exactly. And
nobody puts baby in the corner.
And that is exactly how you do beat the Dallas Cowboys, and that is fight fire with fire, meaning go right at Micah Parsons, go right at Stephon Diggs, and I think that is what Kirk Cousins and the boys will do for the Minnesota Vikings this week. Tomorrow, I'm going to break down the games, but this is my upset special of the weekend. If you're listening tonight, a little bit of spoiler alert. So, Corey, on the other side of the ball here, of the must-sit, we have the must-bench players, and I want you to give me 3 players that you just have no faith in going into this Week 11 matchups here. Give me a player, the first one that you are going to bench.
I mean, this name should come up every single week for him just because he's been terrible this year. I'm going with number 1 is going to be Najee Harris. Again, he was one of my picks to be a complete bust at the beginning of the year. He's going up against a Cincinnati defense that's starting to get healthy. Has not really done anything. He's got 1 touchdown on the year. He's losing carries right now to Jaylen Warren. So if that tells you anything, Najee Harris should not be in your lineup. He should not be in anybody's lineup unless you have running backs on bye or they're injured. That's the only way that I would even think about putting Najee Harris. I actually benched him in my league and put Brian Robinson in instead of him.
Wow.
So number one, hands down, him.
Yeah, scoring 1 touchdown so far this season on a very bad Pittsburgh Steelers team is not very good for your fantasy team or the team in general moving forward. Give me the second player that has a much bench this weekend.
Must bench. And again, not that I thought I would even come close to saying anything like this, but Mac Jones. If you have Mac Jones, that's kind of, we're embroiled in a quarterback controversy there. And if you pay any attention to any of our brothers and sister groups, you see people get kind of heated over the Mac Jones Bailey Zappi whole situation there. And again, it's going up against a New York Jets defense that has been amazing. They're on pace to become the first defense ever to be ranked last in the league 1 year and be ranked inside the top 10 the very next, I believe. Actually, they might even be the top ranked defense currently.
Yeah.
So I think Mac Jones is going to struggle mightily. And this could be the week that Belichick says screw it and pulls the plug on him and puts Bailey Zappi in. Not a good start. If you have any other option, do not, please, for all it's worth, do not start Mac Jones this week.
Yeah, and what's crazy is I'm actually looking at our league right now, our Man Hour League, and Justin Fields and Daniel Jones are both available in our league for some reason. So there's definitely other options out there.
How has Combs not picked up Fields yet?
I don't know. That's his boy, but yeah.
I mean, now you said that I might go drop Rodgers and pick up. Oh yeah, I can't. Rodgers played last night, so I can't even drop him. I'm like, I'll pick him up.
Right. So, Tori,
my 5-5 first place team.
Oh, okay. Simmer down now. I got him on a 3-game winning streak at 4-6. I'm coming, but
no, give me. Not. I just beat you 2 weeks ago.
Oh, sorry. I'm on a 2-game winning streak. I win one more, then it's a winning streak, right? But anyways, number 3. Give me the third player that is a must bench this weekend.
Oh, there's a lot of pick. Cooper Kupp. I'm just kidding. Cooper Kupp's not playing. Please don't. If you have him in your lineup, please don't listen to me. Don't do that.
Yeah, he is on the IR. So yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah, they're not going to happen. Third one to bench this week just because that defense, again, is so good. And he hasn't done nothing, and he's been kind of on my bust list the last few weeks anyways, is Michael Pittman. Paris Campbell's starting to pick up a lot of the stuff. Matt Ryan's back in at the quarterback position, and he started to favor Paris Campbell before he got the benching, and now he's back in. But even now, he has a better rapport with Paris Campbell. Not that Michael Pittman's a terrible receiver, because he's not. He just doesn't have the rapport with Matt Ryan that Paris Campbell does right now. And again, next year that'll probably change because Aaron Rodgers will probably be playing for the Colts because the Colts like to go after aging quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So
if that is the case, me as a passive Colts fan would be very, very upset, but also intrigued all at the same time. Also, on the flip side of that, Michael Pittman is not performing as well because if you actually watch the games, they're double teaming him almost every play. So they are basically saying, we're taking you out of the game, so Paris definitely has a chance to excel. So, guys, those are 3 players that Tori said are much benches: Najee Harris, Mac Jones, and Michael Pittman Jr., 3 players that are must start this week: Justin Fields, Ahmad St. Brown, and obviously Justin Jefferson. So, Tori, before we get into our 3 sleeper picks, there is a question that has popped up over here at youtube.com/manhour, and it is Marco Tusi, and he says he is 4-6 and he needs to make a playoff push. What should I do? My team consists of quarterback Justin Fields, Russell Wilson, running backs Mixon, Alvin Kamara, and Henderson Jr. for the Rams. And then he has, as a receiver, Ove, Michael Pittman Jr., Jacoby Myers, Slayton, and Dotson. And at tight end, he has Dawson Knox. And is it a PPR league? Give him some advice of his team. Should he drop Russ since the bye weeks are kind of over for the Bears? I mean,
I'm trying, because Chicago's already had their bye week, I believe.
Yeah, they had it.
So if they have one, Get rid of Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Start reinforcing your roster in other places. That's one thing I always do. Same thing, defense. Why carry 2 defenses?
Right.
At that point, if you can pick up a defense that you might need, like if you have a really bad matchup, like I've done that a couple of times this year with the Bills, carrying one defense. I've picked up a defense. It cost me $2. I would rather have $2 and get the win and win more money at the end of the year than, have it cost me the victory because I was too cheap to make any moves on my team.
Right.
However, get rid of some of those players and start looking at some of the people that other people might not be looking at quite yet. Again, it's a lot of future forecasting. At this point, you're starting to see some of the stuff in the league. Like I just said, Paris Campbell is starting to get that rapport with Matt Ryan. It happened about the last 3 weeks that Matt Ryan was the quarterback there. And we had a little 2-week hiatus with Sam Ellinger in there, but now Matt Ryan's back in there. So you got to start looking at that and start looking at who has chemistry with that QB, so I would tell you, yes, start reinforcing with your roster. Again, not knowing who you have available in your league, we're going to probably reveal some of maybe who you should look at here in a couple of minutes with our sleepers, because I do have a couple of ideas for you.
Right. So one thing that really stood out to me is your running back situation there. Alvin Kamara, we talk about this from time to time right here on the show that people like to go after the big names, right? And Alvin Kamara usually would be a big name and a great fantasy points, but he has 1 touchdown all season, Tori. Just 1 touchdown for Alvin Kamara. I would look into possibly trading him.
I wouldn't, just because how many catches does he have on the year?
That I don't know, but the 1 touchdown is what is really intriguing to me.
In a PPR league, the catches can outweigh that, though.
Right.
Your catches, like if he's catching me 8 balls a week, but he's not scoring and he's going for 75 yards rushing and 60 yards receiving, he's probably still pretty valuable to me. He's probably still putting up pretty good points. And in a PPR league, he's still going to be more valuable even without the touchdowns. It's the same thing like with receivers that catch a ton of balls but maybe not get the touchdown are still very valuable receivers because they're still going to put up a ton of points for you.
Right. Also, another running back is Henderson, right? With the immersion of Cam Akers or not, Cam Akers, right? Wanting to get
the reinsertion of Cam Akers.
Yeah, like the Rams are basically saying, hey, we want you to stay. They're trying to boost the ego. So I feel like he is going to start getting a lot more carries, and Henderson is going to start getting a lot less carries on that. And the Rams have already had their bye week as well. As I think the only team that you have, or the only person that you have on your running back are the Saints, and I think their bye week is next week. So, what about Jacoby Myers? I never really liked any of the Patriots receivers.
See, and I struggle with this week in and week out about putting him in my lineup because I actually have him on my team. I think I have him in both. I think I have him in our league too. Not sure if I have him sitting on the bench or not. Maybe I picked him up and cut him. I don't know. I know I had him for a week or so, but I actually have him in my big money league. I actually have him, and I struggle because I actually do. I go deep at receiver. We can start any combination of wide receivers and tight ends we want.
Yep.
At 3 apiece. So, but like my starting receivers are Amari Cooper, Devontae Smith, and who's my other receiver? Jalen Waddle. Like I actually have 3 super solid receivers. However, I'm still not sold on Amari Cooper. And we talked about that a few weeks ago. I think if there's anybody that's poised to go for a downfall, it's him because, well, Deshaun Watson's getting ready to come back and
next week,
he may not have the rapport with, he may not have the rapport with Cooper that Jacoby Brissett had. So, and I think that could be a downfall. And I could be completely wrong on that on the flip side. And all of a sudden, Watson and Cooper have amazing chemistry, but it always changes, and it's going to take a couple of weeks for that stuff to get sorted out. And that's where I say that I think his numbers will take a big dip because, one, Deshaun Watson hasn't played football in almost 2 years.
Right.
So, but yeah, Jacoby Myers is an interesting case. His numbers have he's kind of been steady. He's not spectacular, but he's not terrible.
Right.
he's just been kind of even keel throughout the year, and it didn't matter if it was Mac Jones or Bailey Zappi at the quarterback position.
So I'm trying to think of who the other Ram receivers are that this person could possibly pick up since Cooper Kupp is officially on the
Allen
IR.
Robinson's there.
Yeah. Which a lot of people have been dropping him just because he's only been scoring 2-3 points like a week, so he could have a resurgence. I mean, like other than that, I don't really know.
Well, I think Van Jefferson's back off of IR.
Okay,
so Van Jefferson's another receiver that you could look at and pick up as well. So like there again, sneaky good stash maybe for the end of the year because. Cooper Kupp could be out 3 weeks. He could be out 8 weeks. We don't know.
He is having surgery on that ankle, so I'm sure he's done for the whole year. So,
yeah.
But really, I think the weakness of this person's teams, of Marco's team here, is his receivers. So I would definitely be looking at some type of receivers. To
and maybe even a tight end because Dawson Knox has been up and down all year too.
Right. All righty, Corey. So moving on to the final segment here that we have planned for tonight. We've given the people 3 people to start, 3 people to bench this week. Give me 3 possible sleepers that could come out of nowhere this week, Tori, and just blow us out of the water.
I don't know if it's really coming out of nowhere with my first one. Because if you are a football fan and you've watched football at all, this person was on nobody's roster at the beginning of the season, but now they probably are, and that's Cole Kmet. So if you need a tight end and I have Dawson Knox, if Cole Kmet is still available, guess what? Cole Kmet's got 4 touchdowns over the last 2 weeks. He has become the ultimate safety valve for Justin Fields. He has become Justin Fields' red zone target. So that is somebody that hands down you want to take a look at. I put it in a waiver claim to try to pick him up in my money league this week. Denied because I am in first place in my division. So I am 11th out of 12 to make a waiver claim, and so I had to get through 10 other teams, and that just wasn't going to happen. So the downside of being good at fantasy football is you never get your players that you want to pick up.
Right.
So that's why but a good fantasy football player, guess what? I'm looking at people that are coming off an injury that maybe people dropped that they didn't really think about, that maybe they were hoping everybody else forgot about. And I'm going to pick them up a week before they're ready to come back, because when they're ready to come back, they're already on my roster.
Yeah, Cole Kmet is
Cole Kmet.
Yeah, I actually picked him up a couple weeks ago. I believe when they played the Packers, when he scored his first touchdown, when Chase Claypool first came out. I'm like, okay, I'm seeing this. Let me get this guy up, and he has definitely been a lifesaver for me moving forward. Give me the second sleeper pick of Week 11.
And again, I'm going to go back to my guy that I said I put into my lineup over Najee Harris. I'm going to go with Brian Robinson. They're playing Houston. Houston doesn't have a very good defense. Brian Robinson scored his first touchdown last week. He's starting to get more comfortable. He's starting to become the running back who I kind of figured he would be. Again, probably not rostered in a ton of leagues and definitely not being started in a lot of leagues. Hands down, if you're looking for a sneaky good pick on Sunday, especially with that, again, a game that might not have 2 very good defenses, that could be a point bonanza as well. I'm not saying it's going to be like a 38-34 type game, but I could see that one being like a 27-23 type game.
Yeah.
And I think that him getting more comfortable into that running game, he's kind of become their running back, their running back, where Antonio Gibson's still their receiving running back. Essentially, what happened this year with I almost call them the Redskins, the Commanders, is Antonio Gibson became J.D. McKissick, and Brian Robinson became Antonio Gibson. And now J.D. McKissick's kind of an afterthought. So, but yeah, hands down, definitely think about putting Brian Robinson in your lineup. Take a look at it. He matches up very well against that Houston defense.
Yeah, and let's not forget that Houston is actually a really sneaky good team. So the Commanders could possibly be in a shootout. Tory, now it's not going to be what you said, 35-34 score, but we're 28-24. You're pretty much spot on there. The Texans have been right there pretty much all season long. So Brian Robinson, Cole Kmet, give me that third sleeper of Week 11.
I mean, and you brought him up already, and I was going to talk about Jacoby Meyer. Jacoby Meyer has a chance to actually have a really good week. Again, like I said, he's not been He's not been spectacular, but he has been steady. And it didn't matter who was at quarterback. And to me, that matters because you do have a lot, like the pressure's on Bill to pull him out and put Bailey Zappi in, because people are like, right now, I feel like New England fans are clamoring a little bit more towards the Bailey Zappi side of it, because I feel like that the offense is a little bit more free flowing, a little more wide open with him in there. And it's kind of like when Mac is in there, he's kind of like a statue. And I think that because Bailey can move around a little bit more, and he's a little bit better than Mac that way, that's why people are kind of clamoring for him. But Jakobi Meyer, again, doesn't matter who's in there, that he has just played well.
Yeah, that is a huge step for any young quarterback when your receiver can consistently perform in real life. But that is 3 sleepers here. Cole Kmet, tight end for the Chicago Bears. Brian Robertson, running back for the Commanders. And then, of course, Jakobi Meyers, the receiver for the New England Patriots. Those are 3 sleeper picks that Tori has given us for week 11. Like I said, guys, if you ever have any questions, head over to facebook.com and then look for our Facebook fantasy football discussion group. Tori is very active in there. And Tori, we do got a couple questions coming from the Facebook group here that we like to address here. This is from Charles Anthony Sears. He says, can I trust Courtland Sutton with Jerry Jeudy sidelined?
Again, looking at the stats, looking at the defense they're playing, I would say yes, this week you could. Like, I don't know if you're going to trust him week in and week out, but Courtland Sutton has a rapport with Russell Wilson. Thing is, as bad as Russell Wilson has played this year, Courtland Sutton's definitely getting his, especially when it comes to like catches. If you're playing at PPR, absolutely you can count on Courtland Sutton. He has continued to get open, and I think even without Jerry Jeudy, he's still going to get his, because you still have KJ Hamler on the other side, who's not a bad receiver at all. So the one thing that Denver has going for it, besides their terrible quarterback play, which doesn't have it going for it at all, they actually were very deep at receiver. And so I think Courtland Sutton, you are absolutely safe starting him.
And they're also playing a very, very bad Vegas team this weekend as well. This team is just trying to get through this season. Yeah.
I think Devontae misses Aaron as much as Aaron misses Devontae at this point.
Yeah, it is not good in Las Vegas right now, but at least the weather's nice, right? I mean, I guess that's all I got. So Charles actually has another question here. We actually talked about this a little bit last week, but should he drop Keenan Allen?
No, and again, no, because one, the Chargers still have an above 500 record. They still have a really good shot at the playoffs. He's starting to get healthy. The one thing that you just don't know. Like this week, like I've monitored it all week. The good news is he's been limited in practice all week this week, which has been better than what it's been. Minus his 1 week when he tried to play in week 7, he really didn't practice at all that week until like Friday, and he was limited then, and he tried to go and it just didn't work out great. I think that still, you still hang on to Keenan Allen, because eventually he's going to get healthy. And again, this is where I talk about like players that you can stash until like the playoffs are good. They're going to be in survival mode at that point. They're going to be trying to make that playoff push. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to win at all costs. They will do whatever it takes. They will force the ball then. That means they're going to throw the ball a ton. So, yes, 100% keep Keenan Allen on your team, because when he gets healthy, that's going to do nothing but help your fantasy football team. Yes, do not give up on Keenan Allen.
Yeah, and the playoffs start for us in just a few weeks, and the Chargers are going to make that push here after they lose to Kansas City on Sunday. So they're already in survival mode after this week, honestly.
I don't know. You might want to check your stats on that. On those Charger Chiefs games. Again, does not matter the record. That is one of those games that the Chiefs struggle with no matter what.
Them and the Raiders.
Everybody's got those teams that they just like, no matter how good or how bad they are, they struggle against them.
Yeah, it sucks. So this question is a little outdated, but we're still going to ask it because Melanie would like to know, possibly moving forward here. Obviously, the Titans and the Packers played Thursday, so you can't put this defense in. But she says she has 2 defenses on her roster. She has the Titans, and then she has the Denver Broncos. Should she have started the Titans versus the Packers or the Broncos versus the Raiders? Like, obviously hindsight's 2020, but
right. And even at that, Russ has been so bad this year, and the offensive line is so terrible this year. I still would have ended up starting the Denver defense, even as bad as they are, because the Raiders offense is just as bad. Like, their line can't protect Carr. Carr has not played well. He's gone into full on Aaron Rodgers. I'm just going to throw it to Devontae and hope for the best,
right.
no matter what. And it's not working out well because they're 2-7.
Yeah.
So I would still, because Derek Carr still does turn the ball over a ton.
Yep.
He makes poor decisions and stuff like that. Again, if they're going to double or bracket Devontae all day on Sunday, I would still start the Denver defense even over the Tennessee defense. The one thing Green Bay at least has going for it is they have a really good running game that's going to put up points. Yeah. And it's going to end up limiting those turnovers. Like, and again, hindsight's 2020, but still, it's still Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon, which is probably one of the best running back duos in the league.
Yeah, and this is coming from a Packers fan. Just once you put that caveat at, like, just like out there. But I also have the Denver Broncos defense on my team, and I actually dropped them this week to pick up the Commanders because I feel like the Commanders defense is starting to come about after what we saw on them on Monday. Granted, they were only on the field like 20 minutes.
Why do you think that is?
Because Chase Young is starting to come back. Chase Young is
100%.
Yeah.
Chase Young came back, and that looks like a completely different defense.
Yeah.
This is the defense from 2 years ago where I said last year that they were going to end up being dominant, and then Chase Young got hurt. Yeah. You see the difference that Chase Young makes, and him alone. And I don't know if it's because of who he is or his leadership or just the way he plays the game. Whatever reason, he is the heart and soul of that defense. And when he was gone, it was ripped out.
Same thing with TJ Watt for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's officially back now, too. He is second week back or first week back. So a Steelers team might be one to pick up.
And I almost, because they play Cincinnati this weekend, correct?
The Steelers do play the Bengals, yes. Yeah,
because I almost put Joe Mixon on my sit list just because of the way that defense is playing in TJ Watt. Difference being is that there's still just a ton of weapons on that team, so it's really hard to sit Joe Mixon.
Yeah, so really the only thing you don't want to do as far as defense goes is start the Chargers versus the Kansas City Chiefs, because the Chiefs are going to put up 60 points this week.
I mean, but yeah, if you get points for turnovers and sacks, yeah, I mean, you might not be so bad.
So let me ask you this question, just because earlier in the show you said the Jets are a top 5 defense in the league, and actually per ESPN they're ranked number 3 right now. I don't know how they do their rankings by any means, but they're ranked number 3, and Jacoby Myers is one of your sleeper picks for this week. Would you start a New York Jets defense against this New England team?
Yeah, absolutely. I still will, because Jacoby Myers can still get his catches. He can still put up 8 catches for 103 yards, and you're still going to get a ton of points off of that. So, yeah, I mean, you absolutely could. The thing is Sauce Gardner does not play all over the field. Like, he doesn't stick with the number 1 receiver yet.
Right. He
sticks to one side of the field at this point, and chances are they're probably going to put Jacoby Myers on the opposite side of the field since he is their top target. So, and I could see Sauce probably playing. He's probably going to play primarily against Aguilar.
All right, so one more question before we head out for tonight. This person over here at youtube.com/manhour. Sorry, I'm not even going to try to butcher that name, my man, but it's XNT Sushi 72. I don't know. But he says he was offered Justin Jefferson in trading for Gabe Davis and Justin Fields. Would you make that trade?
Ooh, yes. Just because you're getting the absolute number 1 receiver in the league at this point, I potentially probably would make that deal. Gabe Davis has been good. Justin Fields has been coming on. Again, the problem with what Fields is doing is he is doing it with his legs primarily.
Yep.
Eventually, he's going to take that hit, and it's not going to be done with his legs anymore. He's going to be like, I'm tired of getting my bell rung. And it's happened with every scrambling quarterback throughout the history of the league that sooner or later they either learn to play from the pocket or they're out of the league.
Exactly.
Ask Robert Griffin.
Well, also, but on the bright side, Justin Fields is a pocket quarterback as well. Like, he only scrambles when he has to, right? He's a pass first, run second type of guy. Just right now,
and
he has like 2 seconds to throw the ball.
I think that's part of Eberflus, though, coming from KC, though. That's part of his thing is you better learn to stand in the pocket.
Yeah.
But the thing is young quarterback like that tend to rely too much on their legs.
Yeah. So XMT, or like over here at youtube.com/manhour, take the trade.
Yes.
Do it.
Take it. You don't turn down a trade for JJ.
Yeah. That's crazy. All right, Corey, we are getting ready to head out for the night, man. Any closing thoughts before we head out and head on to this Week 11 NFL season here?
Again, gentlemen, ladies, if you're playing fantasy football, this is the time of year. It's the holidays. We're starting to wind down. We're getting towards the playoffs. You know what comes into play at this time of year then with your teams? Watch the weather reports for the games. I was seriously hoping that game did not get moved from Buffalo between them and Cleveland. Judging by the way it looks, they made the right decision. But I was like, man, if that's the case, Devin Singletary, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, start them all, because there's no way you're going to be able to throw the ball in that, because you're not even going to be able to move.
Yeah.
So, start watching your weather reports. You're just going to start looking at matchups too. Like, are we playing in the South? Like, are we playing in warmer weather climates? Absolutely. And that goes for literally almost any position you're playing, especially like, if you have to start a kicker in your league, 100%. Like, I want my kicker kicking in warmer weather because the ball's going to go farther.
Yeah.
It's 30 below. It's not going very far.
Exactly. All right, guys. So that is going to be it for Man Hour this week. Hope you guys have enjoyed the week. If you haven't done so already, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, guys. We're on our way to 10,000 likes over here on Facebook. We'll see you guys. What's that?
Fuck you. And you muted yourself.
I didn't mute myself. I'm still here.
You cut out for like 30 seconds.
No, your internet just sucks. But shots fired. See you guys next week. Man Hour Nation, rise up.